It was an ordinary autumn evening. Two seventh-grade friends, Olesia and Katya, were walking leisurely out of school. "My God, how I hate our physics teacher!" Olesia clenched her fists aggressively every now and then. "They hire young, just the day before graduates, and then they pontificate." "Come on, don't grumble." Katya tried to calm down her friend. "Konstantinovna is a great aunt, and today she pointed out to you a very real mistake. The condition and the answer were from one problem, and the solution from another." "Thanks for your support, friend," Olesia snorted. "It wasn't just me who did it, but everyone who copied from Kornukhova. Well, she's got it all terribly jumbled up, you can't make out anything. I was the only one who got a reprimand. And not the first time, mind you, she's picking on me on purpose." The next moment, Olesia's lips spread into a devious smile. "And maybe try to put a spell on Konstantinovna?" "Oh, no," Katya moaned quietly. Talking about black magic was her friend's favorite hobby. Olesia had been fascinated by various fortune-telling, spiritistic sessions and stories about witches since she was 8 years old. Every year on Christmas Eve, she tried to perform some ritual, but each time to no avail. Also, Olesia was quite superstitious. "I feel like now she's going to pull out her pirate coin, ask her what to do, and toss it up," Katya's mind flashed. And sure enough. "Teacher deserves spoiling, yes or no?" Olesia flipped a coin. However, the result could not be learned. The coin fell past Olesia's hand, rolled on the asphalt to the side, and rolled down the steps into the yard, near which the girls stopped. "Oh, no!" Olesia clutched her head. "We must go down after her at once." "Stop!" Katya shouted, just in time to grab her friend by the sleeve. "Have you forgotten what kind of yard this is?" Jesus! Yes, it was the very same infamous for their entire neighborhood yard, nicknamed Black Hole by the old-timers. 3 shabby high-rise buildings, resembling a huge letter P in their layout, covered a huge unattended playground with rusty, broken slides, the ground around which was covered with black stains of incomprehensible, oily-looking mud. There, too, on the inner walls of the houses, scaffolding had been erected, already shriveled by time, for the purpose of the repair, which had never begun because the team of workers who had arrived there had disappeared without a trace. However, the workers were not the only ones. From time to time, anyone who wanted to take a shortcut through the yard disappeared forever. The same fate befell curious children who wandered in. The same fate befell curious children who wandered in. Thus, the unassuming Belgorod courtyard turned into a real anomalous zone. What happened there to the unfortunate forever remained a mystery, covered with darkness. The police categorically refused to enter the cursed yard and barely heard the address of the disappearance of objects. Instantly closed the case. Volunteers willing to investigate the case privately also not found, so as not to repeat the fate of the missing. "I quickly there and back," said Olesia half-voiced. "After all, I am very dear to this coin." "Are you tired of living?" Katya hissed. "Do you want the damn yard to swallow you into the unknown?" "Nothing can happen in 3 seconds," she was adamant. "And the coin couldn't have rolled far away. It's probably just around the corner of this house," and before Katya could say a word in reply, she ran down the stairs. "Oh!" Katya, shocked, was at a loss for words. "Don't worry," Olesia said deliberately slowly. "You can even time it. 1/2 a minute and I'm back." A moment later, the girl disappeared around the corner. "Crazy!" Shaking with fear for her friend, Katya thought. "She never takes my word for anything. She always has to try everything out for herself." 1/2 a minute, a minute, a minute and a half. Olesia did not return. Katerina stomped nervously in place. Maybe the yard had already eaten her friend, or everything was fine. She just couldn't find her precious talisman for a long time. 3 minutes. And suddenly, "Help!" A familiar voice suddenly reached Katya. "God, I knew it!" Katya cried out desperately. But what should I do now? Should I call for help or should I go down there myself? Help me, please. Her friend's cry became more pitiful. Ignoring all the dangers, the girl rushed inside the abnormal zone. Olesya she saw not immediately. Only when the third scream sounded, she was able to see in the depths of the yard friend drowning in one of the black puddlies. The girl was sucked up higher than her chest, only her head and hands in the snow-white sleeves of her school blouse. Two bright spots in the yard's semi-darkness were sticking out above the ground. "Get me out of here! Get me out!" Olesya sobbed as soon as Katya was there. "Now!" Katerina grabbed her friend's hands and pulled as hard as she could. It's hard, but it's working." Shit. The sleeves of Olesya's blouse came off, and Katya involuntarily let her friend out of her arms. Olesya screamed more than before. "Don't cry, I'll pull her out." Katya grabbed her hands again, tensed up and pulled harder than before. 1, 2, 3, 4, P5. It worked. The next moment, Katya clutched her friend who was standing on the hard ground again. "Katya, who are you hugging?" A surprised voice came from behind. The girl turned around and saw, "Olesya, here, I found it." She showed her coin. "And why did you—" Without finishing, Olesya pointed her hand at Katya and squealed fearfully. Turning her head to the one she had just pulled out, the girl was stunned. She was holding the paws of a large, reddish-gray body, insect-like monster as tall as herself. The monster opened its nightmarish, toothy mouth, and, a second later, Katya's body was pierced by a terrible, unbearable pain. A second later, the light in front of her faded, and she felt nothing more.